Quick question. Did anyone in your family get a deposit this weekend that you weren't expecting?
6 million kids got signed up for a brand new government account this year. And starting this 4th of July, a chunk of them woke up with $1,000 sitting in an account that didn't exist on Thursday.
From Trek4Wealth, this is the podcast. I'm Avery.
I'm Grant.
And today, the Trump account. Free money for babies, an investment app built with Robinhood, and a British program from 20 years ago that already tried this exact thing and lost track of £1 billion of it.
That last part is the part nobody's talking about yet.
Let's get into it.
So here's the setup. This is officially called a Section 530A account, created under last year's big budget law. If your kid was born between January 1st, 2025 and the end of 2028, and they're a U.S. citizen with a Social Security number, the Treasury deposits $1,000 into an investment account in their name.
And that's not the ceiling, right? Family can add to it?
Family can add up to $5,000 a year on top of that. Employers can kick in $2,500 tax-free if they run a qualified program. And it's not sitting in cash. During what they call the growth period, the money has to go into a low-cost index fund tracking something like the S&P 500. Expense ratio capped at 0.1%.
So, a 5-year-old's birthday money is basically sitting in the same fund a hedge fund manager might use. Not some special kids fund with worse returns and higher fees buried in the fine print, which is honestly what I expected going into this.
Exactly. And it just grows until 18, then converts into a regular traditional IRA. Same account, new rules. Your kid's entire adult life, they've already got a retirement account older than most of their coworkers.
Okay, who's actually funding this besides Washington? Because I've seen some big names attached to it.
This is where it gets interesting. Micron, SoFi, Charter, BNY, BlackRock, Robinhood, Schwab, all of them have said they'll match the $1,000 for their own employees' kids. Michael and Susan Dell put up $6.25 billion of their own money for 25 million kids born before 2025 who don't qualify for the federal $1,000. And Gwynne Shotwell, president of SpaceX, is personally gifting SpaceX stock into accounts for over 2 million kids.
That's a lot of very rich people deciding how the next generation starts out financially. I want to sit with that for a second, because it's a genuinely new kind of philanthropy. Corporations and billionaires funding individual retirement accounts for strangers' children, at scale, on day one of a federal program. We've never really seen private capital plugged directly into a government savings account like this before. At least, not this fast, and not this publicly.
It is new, and it's exactly the debate happening right now. Is this generosity, or is it wealthy interests shaping an entire generation's starting line? But before we get to whether it's fair, I want to take you back 21 years, because America didn't invent this idea.
We didn't?
In 2005, a British chancellor named Gordon Brown launched something called the Child Trust Fund. Same concept, almost to the letter. Every child born in the UK after September 1st, 2002 got a government voucher, £250, $500 if your family was low income, deposited into an account they couldn't touch until 18.
What was the thinking behind it? Because that's a genuinely bold idea for a government to run with.
Brown called it asset-based welfare. His argument was that the old welfare state only ever topped up people's income when they were already struggling. He wanted every child to start adulthood owning something, an actual financial asset, not just a safety net. His own words were that no child should be left out.
So what happened to it?
6 years later, a new government killed it. 2011, austerity budget, gone. No new accounts opened after that. But here's the part that should make every parent listening sit up. 6 million of those existing accounts kept growing anyway, untouched, compounding, worth over £9 billion combined by 2019.
That's an incredible amount of quiet compounding for a program everyone assumed just died the day the government stopped funding new accounts. Nobody was watching those old accounts anymore. and they just kept growing in the background for over a decade.
It should be a huge success story. Except, the government lost track of more than 1 million of the account holders. Their money, somewhere around 1.5 to 1.7 billion pounds, is just sitting there, unclaimed.
Lost track of 1 million kids' bank accounts? How does the government even do that?
The kids grew up, and nobody told them the accounts existed. A lot of it was set up automatically by the government when parents never responded to the original voucher, so the family genuinely never knew it existed in the first place. Reports found over 4 in 10 18 to 20-year-olds had no idea where their own account even was or who was holding it.
So the history of the Trump account is really the history of a government that already ran this exact experiment on an entire country. And the free money worked exactly like it was supposed to. It just went to people who forgot it existed or never knew to look.
That's it exactly. The compounding was never the risk in Britain's version. The silence was the risk.
There's a country out there right now where £1 billion of free childhood money is just waiting because nobody ever told the kid it was theirs.
And the Trump account has that same design flaw baked in on day one. Nobody is auto-enrolled. A parent has to actively go to an app or a website and open the account. If they don't, the child gets nothing. Not because Congress didn't fund it, but because nobody filled out a form.
How many kids are we talking about who could fall through that exact crack? Because 6 million sounds like a big number until you put it next to how many kids are actually eligible nationwide.
As of launch day, only around 6 million accounts were opened out of tens of millions of eligible kids nationwide. Only about 1.4 million of those are even eligible for the $1,000 deposit so far. This program is opt-in, exactly like Britain's was, which means the same story could repeat here, just with dollars instead of pounds.
Okay, let's do the balanced view, because I know some people watching think this is either genius or a giveaway to the wealthy. And I don't think it's that simple.
It isn't. Both sides have a real case. Supporters point out that 85% of the families who've signed up so far earn under $200,000 a year. This isn't just wealthy families grabbing free money, it's genuinely broad-based so far. And there's a whole foster care initiative letting states fund accounts for kids in the system, too.
And the other side of it? Because I don't think broad sign-up numbers fully answer the fairness question.
They don't, and here's why. Connecticut's state treasurer ran the numbers. A family that maxes out the $5,000 contribution every single year could build a $150,000 account by the time their kid turns 30. A family that can only ever contribute the government's original $1,000 is looking at around $2,500 in that same window.
So the gap doesn't close. It just starts a little higher for everyone. And then the same inequality compounds right on top of the free money for 18 straight years, completely legally, built right into the design of the program.
That's the honest criticism. The universal $1,000 is real and it matters, but it doesn't erase the advantage of a family that can add $5,000 a year for 18 straight years. Both things are true at once. And that's the tension nobody's fully resolved yet.
Okay, so what do we actually do with this if we've got a kid, a grandkid, a niece, or nephew born in the eligibility window?
Let's do the moves.
Move 1. Open the account now if you're eligible. Don't wait on this one.
This is opt-in, not automatic. The single biggest risk to your kid's account isn't the stock market crashing. It's a form that never got filled out, exactly like Britain in 2005.
Move 2. Ask your employer if they're matching.
Micron, SoFi, Schwab, Robinhood, BNY, Charter, BlackRock, all confirmed matches so far, and more companies are adding their names weekly. That's a free extra $1,000 for asking one question in HR.
Move 3. Set up a small automatic contribution instead of treating this like a one-time gift.
Even $50 or $100 a month changes the entire outcome. The seed money is nice, but the habit is what actually builds the six-figure result down the road, not the initial deposit sitting alone.
Move 4. Treat it like the retirement account it becomes, not a college fund.
At 18, this turns into a real IRA. If you're picturing tuition, you want a 529 plan running alongside this one, not instead of it. Different tool, different job.
And move 5, which honestly might be the most important one on this list.
Don't let it become a lost account. Write down the provider. Tell your kid it exists the day they're old enough to understand. Put it in your family's financial paperwork. Don't be Britain in 2011. Be the family that remembered.
I love that as the real takeaway here, because the policy debate is going to keep going for years. Genius idea, giveaway, somewhere in between. Reasonable people are going to keep arguing about that. And honestly, they should keep arguing about it, because the fairness question is a real one. But none of it matters for your own kid if the account itself just gets forgotten in a drawer somewhere.
Every generation gets handed some version of a head start. In your grandfather's day, it was a savings bond. In 2005, it was a British voucher nobody remembered to cash. In 2026, it's this. The tool changes. The job doesn't. Remember it's there and let it work quietly for 18 years while you live your life.
Preparing without predicting.
Always.
That's Trek4Wealth. Keep tracking.